friends, I'm so glad you're here. My name is Joey and this is my 4th video in my series Pearls Reimagined, Not Your Nona's Pearls. I've been excited about all of the designs for this series, but I am particularly excited about this design because it is very unique. This is a multi-strand necklace with no clasp on it, and we're going to be using a brand new crimp method that I have never shown on my channel. So for those of you that are having trouble with crimps, you may just love this. That's going to be one of the final parts of the necklace. And I am featuring the color of the year, the Pantone color of the year, Mocha Mousse. And so I've also done something else. This is a really long necklace and I wanted it to be budget friendly. So I have been to my craft stores and purchased some little 3mm glass pearls. I have purchased just craft store potato pearls. And I went to the 60% off sale at one of our local chains. If you're one of my American friends, then you know Hobby Lobby. And these were all 60% off. So this is a plated hematite, and it is pretty perfect for the Mocha Mousse color of the year. And because this is going to be a super long necklace and I don't want it to be too heavy, I was thrilled to find this small scale bead. And also the hematite is almost has a little bit it's rough looking, but I really like it with contemporary shapes and the unusual shapes and natural shapes of the pearl, and also the neutral and natural color of the year. I just thought it was perfect. I did want some gemstones in my piece. So again, budget friendly. I found these agate beads, and there is the Mocha Mousse in there too, as well as some of the colors of the pearls. And when I cut these strands open, the only thing I'll probably do is pull out the ones that have reds and orange and not use those in my project. But again, these were 60% off of $4.99. So for a super long necklace, this one is going to be budget friendly. So I am going to cut all of those open. I will also be stringing on my Metallics 49 strand soft flex. It's a medium all-purpose beading wire that I love, and I'm using the antique brass color. I just thought that it went really well with my Mocha Mousse. And if you've been around my channel before, you know that when I do any project, I generally go and search for some seed beads. They're a little bit easier to pick up off of the mat rather than a dish, so I'm just going to put some out here. These are 11.0 and they are simply called gold, but it is a very soft, almost a matte gold. They're check glass beads, and again, they're preciosa, but it's a craft store item. So just because there was going to be so much length to this, I did want it to, be budget friendly. And what's really unique about the color that Pantone chose for this year is that in years past, they would choose, if you remember, Viva Magenta, Very Perry. Last year, it was called Peach Fuzz. They usually select a pop of color, or a color that would be a great accent that you would then mix in with neutrals, usually a bright color. And this year, they did a neutral selection, and it's a natural selection. It's desert inspired. It's also going to be really versatile. And you're going to see a lot of browns on trend this year. You'll see them everywhere. But it's kind of nice for jewelry makers because we can use that as our neutral base and then do our pops of color. I will pop some pictures up on the screen of the Mocha Mousse color if you have not seen it yet this year. By now, I think most of you have probably heard of it. But also I was doing a little research on some of the Pantone color selections that can accent the brown, and there's a couple that I love, but I'll pop up my favorite one as well on the screen when I edit this video, so you can kind of see what I might be working on this year. It probably won't be a surprise if you know me at all. If you've been around my channel, you know my favorite colors and metal finishes, so you'll see that. But it's really cool. The designers are having big discussions, and the stylists, about this selection, because it really is a cozy, kind of invokes chocolate and coffee and all those things that make us feel cozy and warm and happy. And you know, I'm not much of a brown person, but I do really love this because I do love classic style and, you know, neutral things like in your wardrobe, whether it be your clothing wardrobe or your jewelry wardrobe. Neutral things are just staples, and you know, you can take a chocolate brown top or pants and pop a red blazer or a bright pink blazer with it, or you know, this color goes with anything and everything. So I've actually been out hunting for some tops and things to showcase my jewelry throughout this year. So I'm going to just take a second to get all of my beads cut off of these strands and organized a little bit. And I was going to show you one more thing. In this design, you'll see when we get started, I'm using a 3-hole connector bar, and this is one that I had in my stash from Tierra Cast. They're gone, you know, they for over a year now that company's been gone, but I still have a little stash of it, so I think I'm going to use that one, but this connector bar would work as well. And this one is fairly new. It came in an assortment with all of these choices and finishes: silver, antique brass, gold, some really, really plain ones. I think all of these were 3-hole connector bars. So this is an Amazon find, and I can link it below. That's pretty much everything that's going to go into this project, but it'll just be a second for you. I'm going to get these all cut open. Isn't this beautiful? It's already beautiful. It's already so classic and elegant, and I haven't even done anything yet. So this necklace is mostly going to be a relaxing, enjoyable stringing project, but it is a long stringing project, and I will say, if you know me, you know that I'm going to do a long necklace. That's what I like to wear, and I really love the process, but you could definitely shorten this. You can use this design and make adjustments. You know, if you like the design, make adjustments. And so what I have done is taken a 10-foot spool of my soft flex wire, and basically without measuring, I just cut it into 3 pretty equal sections. So I have 3 very long strands. It's hanging off the edge of my table. And so as I said, I'm going to put this in my lap, I guess, to kind of hang on to it. So as I said, if you don't have, I think pretty much any 3-hole spacer would do, and this one would definitely work, but I am going to use my Tierra Cast spacer. And like I said, it's going to be a stringing project mostly, but the first part, just getting it going, is going to be a little bit of a feat here just to hold it together. Okay, in my little dish over here, I have 3 little crimp beads that can be flat crimped. So I'm going to start with a little crimp bead, and then I'm going to put one of my plated hematite cylinder beads on, and then I'm going to go to the middle hole of my spacer bar. I forgot the word for spacer bar, and I'm going to kind of decide my loop. I will be beading a pearl loop here, and I think it's going to be about like that. So I'm going to just reach behind me on my little work cart and grab a bead stop. It doesn't have to be in the perfect space, but just give me an idea how much beading I need to do. And I'm going to start with one of the little 3mm glass pearls. Actually, I'm going to start with 3 of them. I need to make 3 loops, and I mostly want them to be, I want them to be all pearl, but I am going to space pretty much everything out with my 11-0 seed beads. and as I said, I don't want this necklace to be really super heavy, even though I'm making it long. So these smaller beads help with that. And so every other pearl is going to get a seed bead. So it doesn't look like much yet, but I'm really excited about it because I just know this. I did a little drawing of this to kind of work out what I want to do. I still have some design decisions to make in my stringing, but I'll share that with you when I get going. And so what I'm going to do is mix in my fresh water, these kind of potato pearls, and I think I'll try to choose some of the smaller ones. They're all so cool. Each one has its own beautiful little shape. So, but I want to, I want my 3 loops to not be identical with the pearls. Okay, so this first loop is strung. I ended with the 3 little glass pearls, and I've made a loop, gone back down through the same hole on my spacer bar, back down through my plated hematite bead. I don't know why I can't say hematite today. And then I need to get it through the crimp bead. And I'm just going to do a flat crimp here. So just pull my loop tight before I crimp. Okay, so I have my loop back down through my middle hole and back down through that crimp bead, and I've just pulled this so that there's a teeny tiny little bit. I don't know if that tail is going to string into my beads, but it might. I might be able to hide it inside the bead rather than cut it away. But that's what that is going to look like. This is going to turn, let me turn it the right way. I want all 3 of my loops to be going like that. And you know, I'm going to do another one here and another one here. But for now, I'm just going to flat crimp right here beneath that hematite bead, just like that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing 2 more times on either side. So pick up another crimp bead, another hematite bead, and then go through my spacer bar, one of the empty holes, and string another pattern. Get a loop there. I'm going to use my little stopper just to keep them in the general vicinity while I make my loop. And on this one, I think I'm going to do change up the pattern a little bit, like maybe start with just 2 pearls and maybe space out my freshwater pearls, my potato shaped pearls, a little bit differently, just to make my loops random and kind of showcase all of the natural shapes in these pearls. And I'm going to say here too that I really wanted this necklace to be, you know, nice and long, and so I needed a lot of beads and a lot of pearls for it. So I did do inexpensive craft store pearls, but I really love the Potomac pearls. They're available in so many beautiful colors, and I would prefer to work with those because I just see a little bit of a difference, like with the finish on the ends of a craft store glass pearl. So I'll put a link in the description box to the Potomac pearls because they are absolutely wonderful. I used to spend a fortune on Swarovski pearls for my bead woven bracelets, and I just don't do that anymore since I discovered Potomac pearls. But I was being budget conscious on this project because I needed a lot of beads. So, you know, that way you guys, you manage your own budgets, but that way, you know, one of my jobs on my channel is to show you the options and what's out there. So, you know, so I'll do that. I'll put a link in the description box for the Potomac pearls. So I'm just going to create a little bit different pattern here. Instead of just spacing out my freshwater pearls with 1 glass pearl, I'm going to do 2 on my outer loops, and just to space it out a little bit, and I'll be using these in my stringing as well. So I'm going to just finish 2 more loops, this one and one on the other side, and just be a second for you. I'll be back and we'll start stringing. Okay, my 3 starter loops are done. I know it looks rather funny, but trust me, this is going to be a really cool necklace. So I now have to string 3 very long strands, and I have to decide on my pattern. Mostly I wanted it to be these hematite beads in the Mocha Mousse color, but I think that I'm going to just at a few intervals add in some of these agate beads in those Mocha Mousse colors as well. But when I get started stringing, I'll make those decisions if I'm going to do like a section of it, or you know, exactly how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to pull out some of the mousse colors. I'll sort through, and any of these ones with the orange bands, anything with the black, I won't use those. I want all the chocolatey brown colors, the coffee colors, the pearl colors can go in. I'm going to decide if I'm going to do like a color block, but a bead block with the agate beads. I'll decide as I get going, because the pearls will reappear in the bottom of my stringing design. But I already love it so much. I already just think it's amazing. So I'm going to start stringing and just see what things look like. Also see if I need to trim off those tails. These I'm going to continue to space everything with those gold seed beads. So I'm just going to start my stringing. I'm going to do most of this off camera. That does go through there. That's nice. But I don't think it will go through the seed beads. So I'm going to trim these little tails so they will just hide in my next barrel or cylinder bead, my next chocolate mousse cylinder bead, or Mocha Mousse cylinder bead, I guess. So it'll be like that. And I'm going to do a seed bead and a cylinder bead, a seed bead and a cylinder bead for a good bit of this pattern. And like I said, I chose these small beads because it's 3 strands and I want it really long and I didn't want it to be heavy. So I'm going to just get a few on and pull it down to my loops to have a look and make sure that I like the way it's looking and that it doesn't need something else. Let's see. Oh my, that is so beautiful. It's already beautiful and I barely have anything done. Look at that. That's so pretty. I'm a little bit worried about not having enough of these, and so I'm going to even consider doing 2 seed beads in between each one, or I'm going to work out my pattern because, as I said, I can put some of these agate beads in as well, and so I'm going to just start stringing and see what how I like the way it's looking. And again, I have to do the same thing on all 3 of these strands, very long strands. So it is just going to be a second for you. I will not have you watching me string every one of these beads, and I probably won't do it all at once either. It's very relaxing, and I can tell you that just in the stringing that I've done so far, I've already designed another variation on this design that I am super excited about, and I've even thought about the colors that I want to do it in. So that video will probably be forthcoming. I'll share it with you. I love stringing. It is like therapy. This is just happiness, and I love to put on something in Italian or music or a movie and just like get in the zone and, you know, string. So I will do this, and I will come back, pop back in, and show you what it's looking like. So I think I'm going to do a lot of my stringing this way. I'm going to start all 3 strands with the 9 cylinder beads separated by a single seed bead. And then I just did this little agate and pearl bead station. And then I'm going to switch to 3 seed beads in between those cylinder beads. I just really like it. And again, super long necklace. So more seed beads and less regular beads will make this really lightweight. So I'm going to like string this strand most of the way, and I believe that I'm going to do all 3 of my strands exactly the same. That's my plan. I may change my mind when I start stringing, but I'm going to be doing the same thing all the way across so that when this goes around the necklace, it looks really purposeful and, you know, not messy. I don't know, just the way that I see it. You could certainly do this design and do it random and get a totally different look. But I am going to keep stringing, and I will be back and show you what it's looking like. Okay, I have done 1 whole strand to the end, and I'm done the middle strand. I just have not crimped it yet because I wanted to give you guys an update, pop in. So I'm going to just clamp this off and show you what has happened here. So as I said, I really wanted this to be long, and I totally realize you can't see the whole thing because it's too long on my mat. So as always at the end, put up some pictures so you can see it in its entirety, and even some styling options. So I have done little blocks of my beads separated by my 11-0 seed beads and bead stations, and then I realized I was really not going to have enough of these beads to get the length that I wanted. So I branched my patterns out into 3 seed beads in between, and then my next section 3, and then eventually as I got down here I went to 5 seed beads in between, and it's really beautiful, you guys. I mean, I just love the way the pattern turned out, and I love how the little pearl and agate bead stations are breaking up those sections. So here's the one that's finished. And so when I got to my last bead station, I got out those gold seed beads in 8/0s and 6/0s. So I'm using that gold seed bead in an 11/0, 8/0, and a 6/0. And the idea here was to get the weightiness on the bottom of the necklace, you know, to keep the body of the necklace that goes around the neck lightweight and very thin because it is triple strand, and then get some chunkiness, a little bit of chunkiness at the bottom. So then I did a little block of agate beads separated by pearls and just make this little bridge of the 3 8/0 seed beads, 8/0, 6/0 there. And then I did a dozen of my pearls separated by the 11/0 seed beads at the end. And this is the new way to crimp. It's pretty cool. You do need a little bit of strength, but I really like it. And I'll show you something really cool. Now, I did do a loop and allowed my soft flex bead stringing wire to be exposed. But if you want to, this is so strong, you can actually cut this right here and just have your piece end with a mysteriously dangling gold bead that you can't tell that it's holding everything together. I'm going to leave this loop for now because I was thinking that I might want to make 3 little dangles out of a Baroque stick pearl just to finish this off, but I wanted to finish all my stringing before I made that decision. So I'll just show you a sample here. This is one of this was just a scrap, and I mean just a sample that I did. I had ordered those in the silver as well, and just, you know, cut this off. So I don't know if you can see the little hole that your wire goes in, and when you get this type of crimp, these are called stop it crimp beads with a stopper, and I have 2 sources that I have ordered from that I'll link in the description box below. And the silver one is a little bit of a different shape. It's not a round bead, it's more of like a little barrel, but it's really cool because, as I said, if you want it to just end right there with no loop, nothing as a dangle, it's very mysterious how it's, you know, sitting on the end of your wire. So I really like playing with those. So I'll show you exactly what they are. I am ready to crimp here. Let me pull one out. I had put them in my little dish and try to get my fingers out of the way. So it is a tiny little 3mm bead with a hole, and can you see the little button kind of hanging out on the side? Once you have your wire in there, you smash that in and it becomes flush with the bead, and then it's crimped and it's really strong, and you can put a single strand in there, a 49 strand. I've just started playing with these because I'm always very successful with my magical crimping plier and even fold over crimps. So I've just started playing with these, but I am going to do one right here with you. But because of the length on this, I don't want you know, this is almost can be worn almost like a scarf. So I'm going to get situated here where the strand that I've finished stringing is out of my way, and that I can really focus on the one that I need to crimp and make sure that it's not you know, too rigid or that it doesn't have gaps in it. So let me set this one out of the way. This is the one I'm working with, and I'm just going to let gravity help me. I know I'm out of the camera, but I'm just pulling this up above my head so that all those beads can go down. And then I'm just going to kind of lay it on my mat and make sure I have it tight. And so you just feed your wire through the little hole on the bead and let it go down to where you want, and then make a loop just like a normal crimp and go back down through the hole again. So this part is exactly like a normal crimp, and I'm just going to try to do a loop that matches the one on this end. Every time I do this, I get a million comments of people telling me how they do their loops. That some people put a toothpick in there. I put my round nose pliers in there. I think everybody seems to have a method for this. I just tend to pull it until I'm happy with it. Sometimes I grab my pliers if I need a tiny bit smaller. And like I said, the cool thing is if I decide when this is all done that I don't want to have any dangles on my loop, I can snip it right there and it still holds. So this is really cool. So can you see the little button on the side? I need to push that in and it is crimped. Now I will tell you it takes a little bit of strength, at least for me. I don't have a lot of strength in my hands, so maybe some of you who are trying this won't find it hard, but I did find it a little bit hard. So I came down here on my plier where you have a little bit more pressure than you would on the tip. So I came down here and I'm just gonna grab it and squeeze it, and it has gone in. I'm gonna come to the other side and just give it. See, I can still see. I know that it's small. I don't know if the camera is showing you, but it's not completely flush with the beads, so I want to give it a little bit more pressure. Like I said, I found that I needed some strength to really push it in and make it, make that little button, that little nub, make it flush with the bead, and so that it disappears so that you don't see it. That's pretty good. And this is incredibly strong, absolutely incredibly strong. So then I'm going to come right here, like always, as close as I can get to it, just as close as I can get, and trim. And so that is a really cool little crimp bead, and like I say, I will link that in the description box. So I'm gonna just tell you something else if you're going to try this project that I have been doing. When I got my first, and again, you can adjust this and yours may not be this long, but if you really like a long necklace and like me, you're kind of watching the budget of how many bead strands you're going to need. After I was happy with my length on my very first strand, I could go back and count the beads that I had in that strand, and then I separated the rest of my quantity into what I would need for the 2 more strands, and that really helped me to not run short on beads but still get the length that I want. So the other thing that I've been doing is pulling them out so that I don't make a mistake in stringing, because on such a long, stringing project, you really don't want to come to the end and look somewhere in the middle and you've messed up your pattern, because there's nothing to do. Either live with it or, redo it. And I don't want that to happen. So what I've been doing is, like, I needed 8 more beads. So I will go ahead and put them here in front of me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then when I mindlessly start stringing and doing my thing, I don't have to worry before I go to my next section that I might have missed a bead. So I am going to continue like this with my stringing. My first 9 just had a single 11-0 seed bead. And this is a bead that I love, this seed bead. So I did have it in 6s, 8s, and the 11s, and they are all coordinating. It's a check glass color. This finish and color also comes in check glass pressed bicones, and I have some little drucks and cubes. It's a color and a bead that I really love. So I decided to just add a little bit of interest by bringing in those other sizes. And there we have it. So I'm going to keep stringing, and I may even, I was looking at this is another thing, I'll come back and talk to you about that at the end. Where I flat crimped, I'm okay with it. It doesn't look terrible, but when this is on the neck, these loops will be the focal. This is going to be right in the front, like beneath my collarbone. So I may come with some really tiny little crimp covers and disguise those flat crimps. When I get it all done and I try it on, I'll make those final design decisions, to make it look really polished and really great. But I just have to say, if I do say so myself, this necklace is gorgeous and stunning. And as I'm sitting here stringing and looking at it, it is not an ugly brown necklace. And I have to admit that when I saw the Mocha Mousse color of the year, I thought my knee-jerk reaction was, oh my gosh, brown? Because, it is a neutral and it's really classic. But that was really my first reaction. And I have to say, now that I'm doing my first project really featuring this color, it's so wonderful with also neutral things like pearls and the chocolate colors in the agate. And now I'm really loving it. And, I could see this even like this necklace on a white blouse or even a pink blouse. I mean, it's so neutral. With red, this would be beautiful with red. Chocolate brown and red is beautiful together. So that's just kind of where my head is going. This is a wonderful, long, relaxing stringing project, and I've just enjoyed it thoroughly. I've been listening to a movie and, designing more things as I work on it. So I am going to keep going and get this third strand done and clean up my mat, and I'll come back and show you the final finished piece, and you'll be able to have a better look at it. I know when I do my long necklaces, they're really hard to see. So just be a second for you and I'll be back. I am so thrilled. Honestly, you guys, I think this is one of the prettiest pieces of jewelry that I have ever done. I am so excited about it. I did decide to leave my loops on the ends of my 3 strands, and if you've been following the whole series, you know that when I decided to do this video series, I started collecting pearls. I already had a little bit of a collection, but I got these grade A Biwa Baroque stick pearls from Lima Beads. They were a little bit of an investment. I can't remember the length of the strand, but it was about $30. So they're beautiful, and I'm using them sparingly, but this whole piece is so gorgeous, so wonderful, classic elegance, but innovative and unique. And again, definitely not your Nona's pearls, but you guys, I even have pearls in my shoes. I was so excited as I was doing this. I stood up and I was like, oh, that hurts. And I had 2 pearls in my shoe. But anyway, I had to go down to 22 gauge wire. I always use the thickest gauge wire that it's possible to fit through a bead, especially when it's so precious. And I have done these little kind of random, organic, artisan wire wraps. I'll show you exactly. I saved the third one to do with you. Each one is so different, and I went and pulled out the pressed bicone, glass bicone beads, check beads that are in that same matching gold to all my seed beads. So my 3 drops are all going to be unique and different. And I also love my gold-filled diamond cut jump rings. They just make a beautiful architectural element to dangle. So I'll show you what I did on that. So I'm taking a piece of 22 gauge wire, and I just want to make sure that it's warm. And these are drops, these are final drops, so they're going to spin around. But I am going to kind of choose what I think is the prettiest side of the pearl and kind of look at that as my front. So on this one, I think that is just gorgeous. I mean, these are so beautiful. Look at the color. Can you see the opalescent, pearlescent color in that? I love that this is longer, and all of these pearls will be down low, where when I wear the necklace, I can see them and touch them and really enjoy these pearls. So I am just going to bend this wire to what I am deeming is the back. And I'm going to make this, it's 22 gauge wire, and I've warmed it between my fingers. So I'm just going to make it dance around this pearl and make my way up to the top. And I've been doing this a lot lately in my designs because I don't know, I just think that little wire embellishment on top of the pearl, and because I love gold, I just think it's beautiful. I do want to do this neatly because I'm going to put my check glass pressed gold bicone on top, and so I'm just going to zhuzh my little coils here. Always careful not to damage my pearls. And actually, that's actually good. I normally do a couple more wraps, but I'm just going to trim off in the back and add my diamond, not diamond, it's a bicone, but it does kind of look like a diamond. I really like it. I just want to make sure that there's nothing sharp. It still feels a little sharp. That's much better. Okay, just warm, straighten, and I'm going to feed on this little check glass bicone, and then like I said, it's a dangle. It's going to just spin like that, but I'm going to kind of look at it as if that's the front and get a hold of my little stack 90-degree bend And I'm going to do a really neat wire wrapped loop with not too big of a loop staying down on this end of my pliers. I'm so excited about finishing this necklace. I thought it was going to be an entire weekend project, but I got so excited and thrilled because I purchased the supplies several weeks ago for this design. And, you know, I wasn't sure how my pattern was going to work out. I had the basic idea, but I wasn't sure about the assembly of it. And so as I started to design with the beads that I had selected for it, I could see that it was just going to be stunning and really use the current, up-to-date, really, you know, right on trend style. To me, it's really important that what I'm making and what I'm wearing is current and relevant and, you know, doesn't look like, I love vintage things too, but I just, you know, want to do things that are really interesting. So this is how that little wire wrap looks. It keeps that pearl safe and secure, and it's different and interesting and, you know, just not expensive. Again, budget friendly. This is 22 gauge. This is my Softflex craft wire that has the anti-tarnish coating, and each one of these little drops will be a little bit different. Here's this one. I'll just put them together. Aren't they gorgeous? I mean, it's just so beautiful, and they make such a statement together. So I'm just going to add these to the bottom. I can't wait to get this necklace on Gabriella Eva, my high fashion runway model for my channel. I literally can't wait to take the final photographs of this piece. I love what I make. I take a lot of pride in what I make, and I'm usually pretty happy with my designs because I don't throw things together, but this one is exceptional, and I even think that I'm going to put a photo of it on the thumbnail, change up my thumbnail a little bit on this one for my series. So I'll post in the community tab as well. And I'm going to do a couple more things. I mean, look at this, you guys. It's so beautiful. It's just so lovely. Look at the drops. So the way this can be worn, there are several ways to style this. You can gather up all three of the strands on this end and put all three through the loop, and then you can pull this up. And again, I'll put this on the mannequin and show you, but you can pull this up near your neck as far up as you want. If you like a choker style with then a dramatic drop, you can do it that way. But I've already tried it on and played with weaving these strands in and out of the triple loop, and that looks amazing. And what that does, when you put one strand through each loop, it separates the three strands going down the front of your top and, you know, or your outfit, your dress, whatever. And then you really see the pattern as it's separated. So like, this is so fun. I mean, so fun. But I am going to show you, I did decide that I needed a crimp cover. I was not happy with the way the flat crimps were looking, and whoops, wrong direction. This is so long. It's really long, but you know, I love the way the pearls, when they lay against the brown plated hematite, the Mocha coffee colored hematite, I love the way they contrast, and this part of the necklace stands out as well as this part, and also the perfectly imperfect shape of the freshwater pearls. Each one is its own little story. This necklace just sings. So let me just give you a close-up view because I did one crimp cover already. So this is where my flat crimps are, and this is what it looks like when I got a crimp cover in there, and I like it so much better. So I have really small crimp covers. I had these in my stash, and I don't have them marked as far as the millimeter size, but I'm just going to get in here. It's a little tight, but can you see that flat crimp? It looks okay. I mean, I debated even not doing this, but I decided in the end that it's a nice little finishing touch. So I'm just going to wiggle it in between those two hematite beads. You know, there's my secret, if anybody asks me about crimp covers, is don't be too aggressive, because it's very malleable, soft metal. And so I just like go very slowly and in small increments, get it closed, go side to side. And you know that you want to trick the eye into not seeing a seam. You want to close it so that it looks like a little bead. I'll keep going slowly until I can barely see the split in the crimp cover. See, to me, that just looks so much better. So I'm going to do the same thing on this last flat crimp. The end is a little bit easier to do than the middle. Look at that, so beautiful. That is so much better. It makes me so much happier, because when you wear this, this will always be your focal and like the front of your necklace. So I'm so much happier with that. Okay, I have another thing to do. If you are not new to my channel, you probably know what's coming. This is my semi-gloss protective coating. It's called Permalac. I link it under all my videos. I am going to coat those crimp covers. I'm going to coat my little spacer bar that I started out with. And let's see, anything down here? I am also going to coat my crimp covers, because they say that they are brass, but I don't. You know, this is a new way of crimping for me. So I don't know how, you know, how well they'll hold up as far as tarnish. So those are the little bits. There's not a lot on this piece of jewelry that needs to get coated, but I will do that. And you know, like, I really should have done this before I even started, because I did know that I was using it. But sometimes, you know, I don't always know everything that I'm going to use in my project. I just don't. Sometimes I change my mind all the way through, and I have gotten in the habit of doing my protective coating at the end. But this semi-gloss, if you touch a bead or like brush it against your pearl, it doesn't show. It dries clear, and I just love this product. When I was selling my jewelry in shops, it was a constant. The tarnish was the bane of my existence, and when I found this, it just made life so much better, because I used to use Krylon spray and go out into my garage and then try to tape off beads that I didn't want to, you know, get sprayed. And this is just so much better. It's just so much better. And it dries really fast. It's, you know, and you don't have to be super precise. So I'm just going to set that in there and come to this end. And my wire is already anti-tarnish, so I don't need to do that. And I'm just going to give it everything that might darken a little bit of protection. And I love that my work is quality through and through, and it will last. So, and this also, if you sell your work, that is a great thing to type in your listing. It really helps to set your work apart from others. If people are on Etsy or Poshmark and they're shopping for handmade jewelry, seeing that in a listing will definitely put you to the top of their list. So I am so thrilled. I mean, I can't even tell you how happy I am with the way this necklace turned out. And I will put a lot of pictures up at the end. And I thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, it would be a lovely way to support my work, as well as keep track, if you like this series of Pearls Reimagined. You won't miss, when I upload another design. So tap the bell notification. A thumbs up is really important, you guys. The YouTube algorithm will not share your channel with newer people if your existing people are not taking the time to do that thumbs up. So it really does help build my small business, and I thank you so much for doing that. And I hope everybody is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.